Hi, welcome to Funny You Should Mention, where we kind of break down punchlines and talk to comedians about how they got that idea and what they're trying to say. Joining us now is Ariel, or maybe Ariel, or maybe Earl Elias. She is a Jewish star and now is out with a special called A Jewish Star. Welcome. Welcome to Funny You Should Mention.
Thank you.
So I don't want to give away too much, but you are Jewish.
Those are the choices.
Shocking. And a star.
And the star, and from Kentucky.
Yeah.
So growing up, and there's a lot in the special about this, you had to sort of explain Judaism to the fellow bluegrass state denizens, right? They would come up to you and say, "You're a Jewish. Tell me about this," right?
Yeah.
Now that you're a New Yorker, are you a New Yorker full time?
I think so.
Okay, let's call yourself a New Yorker. Do you find yourself explaining Kentucky to New Yorkers more than you explained being a Jewish to Kentuckians?
Ooh, I think I find myself explaining how Jews ended up in Kentucky to New Yorkers more than anything. But yeah, most people in New York, I think, have no concept of what Kentucky is or looks like. It's just a place down there.
Yeah.
But it's a little different. I mean, when I'm explaining to Kentuckians growing up, like, I'm Jewish, they'd be like, right, but like, you still have like Jesus, right? You're like, no.
Well, it depends what you mean by have. Like on the team we do.
Yeah, technically. But I think for New Yorkers explaining Kentucky, there's truly no idea of what it could possibly be like to live there. So it's more of a blank slate.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Also, maybe they understand the South and then they think that's Kentucky, but it's really not. Kentucky's, right? Half Appalachia and a lot of border state energy.
Yeah, it really depends on where in Kentucky you're talking about. It's culturally, I think, very Southern. Like, the way I always put it is, if you have to specify that you want your tea unsweetened, you're in the South. Yeah. And that's Kentucky. And like, any soda is a Coke. So regionally, it feels very Southern, except for Louisville. Louisville's a different thing. But geographically, yeah, I guess technically it's Midwest. It's very weird.
Well, also, I'm thinking during the Civil War.
I mean, we were neutral.
Yeah.
But
that didn't really work out. By neutral, you mean, three brothers on one side, three on another. Mm-hmm. And it was neutral because it would even out in death toll by the end of the war.
But didn't secede.
No, so. I know. But Mary Todd Lincoln's brothers, I think 6 of them, did fight for the South. And she would grow before the interview started. We, like I do with all interviews, talk about Mary Todd Lincoln with my guests. Just turns out there's a Lexington connection.
Yeah, it makes you understand why Abraham Lincoln waited until after the Civil War to declare Thanksgiving a holiday, because otherwise it would have been so awkward at dinners every year with her family.
Yes, that's a good point. Although they did ship 8, so there was turkey being eaten around then. Like, there still was the concept of Thanksgiving.
Probably. I feel like there has to be a concept if you're going to declare it a holiday.
Right. You can't just say, I'm inventing this thing.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, right. So he officially declared it the holiday. Are people more... So as you talk about in the special, especially when you were a kid, they weren't trying to be offensive when they would make mistakes about Judaism.
Sure.
Did they ever... maybe when you were older, maybe people really meant it. Did you ever get hit with bona fide anti-Semitism when you were in Kentucky?
I don't think so. I also am very lucky that I went to a high school that was like super diverse racially. So everybody kind of knew what it felt like to not be in the majority. So there was a little bit more understanding. But no, I mean, I feel like we were all just kind of learning about anti-Semitism together. Like, I remember...
And were you like, holy shit?
I know. I was like, what? That's one of our stereotypes? I didn't know.
What didn't you know that was a Jewish stereotype?
I remember one time this girl in my class, this was in high school, like I should have known, but she came up to me and she was like, hey, what's the K word? And I was like, Kentucky? Like, I don't know. And she was like, I heard it on Law and Order. They kept saying the K word. And so I had to, I'm like 16. I had to go home to my mom and be like, Mom, what's the K word? And she was like, did somebody call you that? And I was like, no, we're all just ignorant together. We don't know. So like, yeah, but again, like no malice.
Yeah. Did they think that, or did you find out from someone else that Jews are supposed to be, I don't know, cheap, or that Jews are supposed to be whatever the other stereotypes of Jews are said to be?
Yeah.
Good with money. There's one. Good with money. Rich. There's another one.
It's a good question. I don't remember like the moment I experienced that or the moment I learned about it. Because where I grew up, all of the Jews, they were all professors. Like everybody, they all moved to Kentucky to like teach at UK or EKU.
Is that the answer to how your family came to Kentucky?
Yeah, my dad's an English professor at EKU. That is the answer. But so I wasn't like fully aware of like, you know, Jews are good with money. I was like, I don't know. Like we're pretty like lower middle class, like run of the mill.
You're like, damn, that one missed
I don't know.
me.
Yeah, pretty much. I just didn't know. I really think I learned most of it from Law and Order of like any of those terms.
That's where you pick it up. You pick it up on the street. Yeah.
New York taught me.
Yeah.
New York culture.
You also know that if someone is accused of murder and you go to talk to a guy at Duane Reade about it, he won't stop stocking the shelves while discussing this possible murder. It's like, I don't know. Just saw him the other day on 23rd Street.
It's actually the only time he's stocking the shelves. He'll only do it when a detective comes in.
He'll still diss the person who asks where the, tang is. He'll still like, I don't know, try
tang.
out for the tang.
What a pool.
Yeah. Well, I'm really into astronauts. Trying to bring it back. No.
Okay.
That's the only Tang association I had. I was going to go with Tab, and I quickly in my brain shifted from the TA and Tab to Tang. Do New Yorkers then, now you're dealing with an older set of people because you were an adult, do they actually have more offensive ideas about Kentucky, not just, bless their hearts, they're ignorant and childish, offensive ideas about where you came from than the Kentuckians did about Jews?
Yeah, I remember when I started looking at colleges and I left Kentucky to do that, and people
it's no need to, from what I understand. You've got your Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. You got your
nice.
KU. You got your, there's a Kentucky Wesleyan, I think. I think I named most of the Kentucky universities.
There's a few more. But
sure, you got Louisville. Yeah.
But I remember when we, Berea.
Shit.
Yeah. Which is a great school. But when we would go to other places and they would find out, my mom would be on these tours with me and they would say, where are you from? And we'd say Kentucky. And people would make like a stink face and they'd be like, Kentucky.
Wow.
Especially if they found out we were Jewish too. It was like, why would you? And like my family would do this too. Like my grandparents would be like, I don't know what you're doing in Kentucky. And it feels very like, well, I can make fun of it, but like you need to shut the fuck up. Like you don't know it. You can't say that. It's like, you're not necessarily wrong, but like, you don't know why you're not wrong.
Wait, where are Noni and Zeta from?
Grandma and Pop-Up and Nona and Nono.
No. Okay. No. Oh, very good.
Nona and Nono. They were all like basically from New Jersey. And then before that, your typical, like my mom's side of the family is, Russia, Poland, Lithuania, depending on the time and the border. And then my dad's family is from like Spain, Greece. We're little Sephardic Jews.
Oh, that's awesome. So Galicia, this is the area of Poland and Ukraine and Russia that keeps changing hands. Right. So because of the Spanish ancestry, you were able to become a Spanish citizen.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
Was this it was an escape plan? Well, that's how you put it in the special.
Spain passed this law where if you could prove that your ancestors were kicked out during the Inquisition, you could get Spanish citizenship. So I did that. I have Spanish citizenship because I think it's so important to have a backup plan. And that's not really hyperbole because I got my Spanish citizenship. I took my oath on January 6th, 2021. I swear, that was my morning. I took my oath. And here's the thing. It had been a really long process, and I didn't know what was going to happen later that day. So I celebrated January 6th. I threw myself a little party. I took a picture of myself being really happy. And then I posted it to social media. It was like 3 hours before the insurrection. I didn't know what was gonna happen. And if that was the end of the story, fine. But social media does this thing where they like to give you memories. So now, every January 6th, I just get a reminder of how happy I looked on January 6th. And the caption that I wrote does not help, okay? The caption that I wrote was, Today we have righted one of history's greatest injustices.
You're allowed to have some sort of leeway for humor, but was that really it?
Kind of, yeah. I think every Jew has in the back of their mind, like, where do we go in case?
And the answer is Spain? That's a new one.
That's, once you get the EU passport, you can kind of go anywhere in Europe. It doesn't have to just
my friend did the same thing with Poland. The Jews going back to Poland, which is what some of the tiki torch bearers requested of the Jews. So did it give you anything other than, and I won't step on the great humor around this in the special, but did it give you anything other than peace of mind? Were there any tangible benefits to now being a member of the EU and a Spaniard?
It's like the tangible benefits that come with it. I hope I never have to use.
Sure.
Which is like leaving.
Yes.
I will still travel on an American passport whenever I am traveling for comedy or whatever, just because it's like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Also, much to my mom's chagrin, even though I have citizenship, I haven't gotten the passport yet.
Like the actual physical
passport, because I have to like go to the embassy and make an appointment. And I just don't feel like doing it. And also I have anxiety that for some reason that I think they're going to yell at me. I don't know why. But I do.
It's been 5.5 years.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
We could date it.
Well, for a while I was like, well, COVID. Like I can't go in because of COVID. And now it's like, no, this is just me not wanting to do anything bureaucratic.
Were you one of those people who found some silver linings in the oppressiveness of COVID? The fact that you couldn't leave?
Yeah. I did great. I thrived.
Thrived, yes.
It was like, aside from all the death, it was so nice to just have a break.
That's an asterisk. We're not saying that's not a big, big, heavy asterisk.
Huge asterisk.
Yes, exactly. So we're not downplaying the nature, the font size of the asterisk.
Correct. But man, was it so nice to just like get high and hang out at home.
Were you married then?
No, I got married in May of 2021.
Okay. So that was like as COVID was breaking. Or it was,
yeah.
If you lived in New York, a big lockdown place, the lockdowns were pretty much over, except in certain public schools.
Right. Yeah. Yes, and we knew we had a very small wedding. It was just our immediate family, and we knew that our parents, like the oldest people at our wedding, would all be vaccinated by then because that's who got it first. And so we just did it in my brother and sister-in-law's backyard. My sister-in-law made it look really nice.
Yeah.
And that was another great thing. I don't want to plan a party. Yeah. I don't know how to do that. And so we just like sent out a Zoom link, and then we were like, you don't have to send gifts, but if you do, here's our address.
Now, a second ago, you used the phrase, I travel for comedy, which is true, but it's also kind of funny, you know? I travel for business, comedy being your business.
Sure.
I travel for comedy.
Yeah.
But you also travel comedically. Like when you travel, comedy ensues. And one of the reasons is that your favorite mode of travel is which airlines?
Oh, Southwest.
Yes.
I do hate flying. That's like a thing I have to do a lot for comedy is fly. I think part of why I hate it so much is I usually fly Southwest. Do you guys fly Southwest, or you're doing well? It's tough, man. I fly it because it's a good deal, right? If you're not familiar, on Southwest, you get 2 free checked bags. The only catch is you'll never see them again. It's the most expensive way to take out the trash, actually. So you pack it up and you buy a ticket. If you've ever asked the question, can an airline have clinical depression? Southwest is here to answer, yeah, we sure can. We sure can. I can't think of any other explanation for them, because they act like me trying to get out of a party where they'll be like, I'm sorry, guys, but I think I'm going to cancel. And you're like, why? What's wrong? And they're like, oh, nothing really. It's far. I don't feel like going.
But they got rid of the thing that I love, which is 2 free checked bags. They don't do it anymore. And the whole point to do it was like that's why you flew Southwest. And of course, the only catch is you'll never see them again. But like, I loved flying Southwest for that reason. And so now I'm just like a Delta babe.
But have you, like a basic Delta bitch.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Were you, so did you actually okay, I'm getting a picture of you of getting the EU passport, but not actually following through on the paperwork. I'm getting a little bit of a picture. Because on the one hand, you seemed highly functional, but loving COVID. So did you do the math to find if though the check bags were free, was the overall net cost of ticket and check bags still a saving versus a Delta type flight? Are you sure?
It depends on where you're going.
Yeah.
Depends on where you're going. If you're flying to your New Orleanses, yes, it is cheaper to just go on Southwest.
Yeah. To MSY. Yes.
Also, like, brag, but now I have Delta status, so my bag is also free.
You never thought of that? If you would just, sucked it up and bit the bullet, no more cliches, but flew on a real airlines, you could have gotten status.
But now I have it. Now I've done it. Southwest has pushed me away.
Do you feel that you carved out pretty much a unique niche in not making fun of Spirit Airlines, being the one comedian who doesn't do that?
Yeah, look, I don't value myself like that highly, but I do value myself too much to fly Spirit. You know what it is? It's like, I don't like feeling duped. And I think Spirit's whole thing is they want to dupe you into thinking that you're paying less.
Yes.
But then they'll get you on every little thing.
Everything.
And I'm fine with it being shitty, but I just want to, you need to know that it's shitty too.
Yes.
Like, let's put our cards on the table. And Spirit doesn't do that.
Which costs like $5 extra if you, you fold it down.
Do you know Tom Takar's joke about flying Spirit?
Tell me.
He goes, I'm sorry, I might butcher it a little bit, but he talks about it's so cheap to fly Spirit. He goes, it's so cheap that even if the plane crashes, you're like, still pretty good deal.
I've never flown Spirit without the lyrics of Master of the House in my mind again and again. 5% for looking in the window twice. Tom Takara's joke about flying Spirit. So it's not hack to make fun of Spirit because all comedians make fun of Spirit and you basically collect different jokes. There's such a thing as a great Spirit joke because they're all terrible.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any topic that's hack.
Right.
I think that's a fallacy. I think there are jokes that are hack, but if you're coming at it with your own unique experience, which you should be, because that's the whole point of this, then inevitably you'll find a unique angle. And if you can't find a unique angle, then it's not worth talking about.
So the real thing that's hack is the complaint of something being hacked.
I think so, yeah.
So you mentioned New Orleans, and I did a little research, and I found out that you majored in Spanish, right, at Tulane. Now, your father is from Spain or just of Spanish extraction?
Just of Spanish descent.
So did he speak Spanish in the home?
No.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was one of those things, because I had a friend in college who's pretty much fully mellifluently bilingual, so he decided to major in Spanish, which is just, it's not like us majoring in English. It's just cheating, essentially.
No, so not only does my dad not speak Spanish, I mean, his dad and grandmother they didn't speak Spanish either, they spoke Ladino. So it wouldn't
I don't know what language is that.
Ladino is like what the Sephardic Jews speak. So it's like, like a lot of Jews speak Yiddish, which is basically a combination of like Hebrew and German.
Right.
Ladino is like Hebrew and Spanish with like a little bit of Arabic mixed in.
I like that.
Yeah.
Is there like Ladinglish? Are there any Ladinglish words? Because there's so many Yiddish words in English, right?
I know there's a Hanukkah song where called Ocho Candelecas.
Do it.
Because candeleka is the word for candles in Ladino.
Do you know how it
No,
goes?
it's like reggaeton. It's like Ocho Candelecas, Candelecas.
Because as you point out in the special, you got to do something to spruce up Hanukkah.
The first Jewish miracle all of my friends learned was the miracle of Hanukkah. The miracle of Hanukkah sucks. It's not a good miracle. It's super lame. The miracle of Hanukkah, what we're actually celebrating, is that the oil lasted for 8 days when it was only supposed to last for 1 day. Ta-da! God, I hate that miracle. First of all, I don't believe in that miracle because men wrote that down, and men are always lying saying it lasted longer than it really did. Second of all, What a terrible miracle for Jews to celebrate, that the oil lasted for 8 days when it was only supposed to last for 1 day. Because to me, that just sounds like we're celebrating that we got a deal on oil.
It is a lame holiday.
It's a lame miracle.
Yes, it's a lame miracle.
Yes.
Well, you don't even get into. There's like a lot of ethnic cleansing alleged with the Maccabees back in the day.
Wait, really?
Yes,
they did it. That they were doing.
They were a radical. They were a radical sect.
Ruh-roh.
Let's just put it this way. Exactly.
Oh no.
So that's why days 2 through 7, I was happy with underwear, and that was it. Because you can't really exalt
you
the
don't want
Maccabees.
to celebrate it too much.
Then there are the Maccabee Games, which is the big Jewish Olympics. I don't know if that got to you down in Kentucky.
We did like a youth group version of it. I remember that. I remember we did one that I always loved was sock wrestling.
Where Who won?
I think I made it through like the bracket, and then I lost in the finals.
So you did a lot of Jewish things in Kentucky. You went to synagogue and you were in youth groups and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know if that version, the Kentucky version of that, was different from what you would have experienced in New Jersey? So I mean just
Probably.
the youth group version.
Yeah, I think so. Because it's like when I went to college in New Orleans at Tulane. Tulane's like such a Jewish place.
I've heard.
And
my son's going there.
Oh, really?
Like 3 weeks.
Hey, congratulations!
Yeah, there you go. He's half Jewish.
I didn't love it there, but I remember like meeting other Jews, and I would get so excited, and I had to learn to like tamp it down because they were like, "Yeah, who cares? Like we're all fucking Jewish."
Right.
So I think if I had grown up not where I did, it wouldn't have felt as special, and it wouldn't have felt as necessary.
Yeah.
Like the youth group of it was like, I have to do this because I want to like hook up with God. You know what I mean? Like how else do I meet Jewish boys?
Well, you were allowed to, not
group?
by your parents, but who asked them permission? I mean, you could have hooked up with some, Episcopalian.
And I did,
okay.
But it felt different to like kiss a Jewish boy. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. Literally. I can tell you.
You should try it. It's really nice. No, I don't know. I think also like in Kentucky, there is this like a lot of the girls my age and like the women, they look like cheerleaders, right? They're like blonde hair, blue eyed, like, like pretty traditionally thin, this whole like girl next door look that I never felt like I had. Like I always like, my hair was a little frizzy. I didn't really know what products to put in it. Still haven't really mastered that. But like, I have this joke in the special about how like I'm built for the old country.
Yeah.
Like,
That I'm built for the old country, right? I'm Jewish on both sides. I'm built for if the ox died, I could pull the cart. That applause hurts. Don't clap at that one.
And that just like was never. It felt like it was never outwardly desirable to like a good old boy.
Right.
So in order for me to,
in practical terms, that literally should be what a guy who's a farmer.
Yeah, but
would want.
there's a very big difference between what men say they want and what men actually want in a woman. Like what they'll publicly say that they want is like a small girl, and then they'll be in your DMs like, "Oh my God, you're like the most gorgeous woman I've ever seen." And meanwhile, the comment they leave is like, "You fat piece of shit." Like,
same guy.
Okay. Yeah,
same guy.
Same guy. So
how's that going to work in terms of game? Because I'm confused.
I think like, okay, I can't get totally in the mindset of a man and wouldn't want to, but I think that there's this idea that it's like a negging thing. Like they're like, well, her self-esteem is probably low.
Gotcha.
So I'll get in there.
Yeah. They watched the MTV show with Mystery.
I loved that show.
That was pretty good.
What a throwback. I haven't thought about that show in so long.
You haven't been hit on by a guy doing bargain
like
basement close magic.
Fedora. But so I think like for me, like going to youth group, it was like there are girls who look like me and there are guys who aren't embarrassed to be seen with me is how it felt. Even if that's not how it actually was, that was my perception.
Okay. So you're acknowledging you may have brought that to it.
Sure.
And you didn't receive any overt anti-Semitism.
Right.
But when you live in a certain world and you inherently see yourself as an outsider and you get a lot of signals that you are, this is your experience.
Yeah. And like it would be things where, like in New York, a big thing that I've noticed is like every single cultural holiday, schools are closed because they don't want anybody to feel like
Eid and Lunar New Year and everyone.
Everyone. Yes. And it's such a beautiful thing that they do, because I remember every Rosh Hashanah, every Yom Kippur, school had just started like 2 weeks before.
Right.
So you're not even in the swing of things. And then I would have to miss school for these holidays. And it was just like, oh, me and the 2 other Jewish kids in my high school were gone.
I'm going to use the word othered.
You feel othered for sure. Or like, you know, I remember getting invited to this guy's dance, but it was the first night of Passover. And my mom like wouldn't let me miss it, man. Which she was right.
Yeah.
But
could have been a leavened opportunity there for you.
It could have been what?
Leavened temptations.
No, I think it was more just about like, we're hosting Seder and you have to be at Seder. But so like these little things where it's like, it's not necessarily anti-Semitism. It's just that being Jewish is not, anything about that is not even registering to whoever's making the plans. Yes. And I get it. We're such a small percentage of the population, but in New York, that would never be the case.
No. Plus, in New York, there is, which they don't have as much in Kentucky, the alternate side of the street parking considerations.
Yeah, that's not a thing at all.
No, but like that's another reason why the holidays are so celebrated. Like we're a pluralist people who welcome others, but also we don't like to have to move our cars.
Yeah.
But this whole milieu that you describe, and by the way, the concepts like white supremacy, what are we talking about? I take issue with it here and there, but the basic idea of, without even thinking about the waters that you swim in, an outsider would notice that the waters are a bit different for them. It is a perfect breeding ground for observational comedy, is it not?
Yeah, totally.
And is that where you think it came from?
For sure.
Yeah, but also being Jewish, they were funny people from what I understand.
Yeah, also I always talk about like with being Jewish, all of our holidays, we really, it's like oral tradition stuff. And we really emphasize telling the story of what happened. And inevitably, when you tell the same story over and over again every year and everybody knows the punchlines, you start punching it up.
Yeah.
Like you make little sarcastic,
Yeah.
You make little like comments under your breath. And I think that's also a big part of where it comes from.
So the outsider status, do you, when you look back, and maybe you try to think about, is this where my comedic instincts come from? Is it that you were kind of an anthropologist, noticing things that others didn't? Or was it more of the expressive part of it, that this was an outlet for you to express yourself?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
For sure it's both. Like, you spend so much time explaining yourself growing up that like inevitably you're like, oh, well, how do I take this thing that kind of feels a little bit like a burden and turn it into a career, basically? And it's this thing that I've gotten good at, of being like, here's who I am. Here's where I'm coming from. Here's the thing about me you might be noticing, just so you know. And then also, you're seeing what the popular culture is and realizing that you're not part of it, which allows you to see what's silly about it or what's ridiculous or what's hypocritical, which is inherently comedy.
So the word you used is explaining yourself. That unlocks something for me. Your comedy is explanatory in many ways. So. That seems unfun, but you don't do voices. You don't bounce around the stage.
No.
You kind of want the audience to understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then maybe be an 1/8 second behind you on the punchline.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. My comedy is very like, I just want to explain to you how I got here.
Yeah.
It's very like freeze frame. You might be wondering.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here's the story. And what I've noticed, so I have this special coming out.
It's out now.
It's out now. Yeah. A Jewish Star, it's my first special. It's like my first body of work, which is all very like, here's who I am. Here's how I got here. Here's the things that, were like unique about my upbringing. And what I've noticed now that that's done and I'm writing new material, that I don't feel like I have to do that as much anymore. And it's becoming a lot more like, here are my thoughts and here's my take on this, as opposed to like, here's how I got here, which is both like terrifying and freeing.
So Roy Wood said this The first special is essentially the best of everything you've been doing for, how long have you been doing it? 10 years?
14.
14 years. Lot to draw from. The next special, especially if this one's hot and they want a new one and the 800-pound gorilla leans on you, you got about a year to turn it around. It used to be more, right? So, yeah, it's a little bit of pressure, but still, it's freeing, right? Because it doesn't have to be biographical.
Right. And the idea, you hope at least, is that now there are people coming to see you who already know you.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have a little bit more room to play. It's not just like tight.
Right. I've seen you in the cellar, and I think this is my recollection. It was a while ago. You have jokes in the special about your name. Is that because you would start your set, the MC would say, now Ariel Elias, and like the first thing you would say, maybe the second thing is, yes, my name is Ariel. Is that how it usually starts with a small, short set?
The way that it started for me, the jokes about my name, was that I think your first jokes are the conversations that you have the most in life.
Right.
And my name is Ariel. So inherently the response that I would always get was, oh, like the Little Mermaid. I was also a swimmer. So it was just there.
It's all there.
So
Your best friend was Sebastian.
No, I refused.
He was Jamaican dude. Always wore red.
Yeah, I was like really mean to the Jamaican exchange student in high school and nobody could figure out why.
Just to make the point.
Yeah.
Just to establish your own identity. Yeah.
But so one of the first jokes that I wrote that I was happy with, and I don't think it's on the special because it just felt too old and didn't feel like me anymore. But it was about like the Little Mermaid, like, you know, being compared to the Little Mermaid and how Disney, but they don't do things right, whatever. So once I got tired of that joke, I remember my best friend's dad really did call me Earl, just like that's his accent. He's like from the mountains. And I remember as a kid going to see him and my friend was like, why do you call her Earl? And he'd be like, that's her name, isn't it? So that was in the back of my head. And then I remember watching another comedian on stage who just said the word Earl. And I was like, oh, that's funny. That's like what they called me in high school. And then it just kind of clicked. And then it was like my favorite joke that I had written.
So in a club like the Comedy Cellar, where they do, what do they call it? Showcase clubs, 20-minute set.
Yeah. That's all clubs in New York.
Oh, okay.
All clubs in New York are showcase shows.
Right. Which was the one in Times Square that
Caroline's.
That used
Caroline's
to be
used to do. Yeah, they used to do
closed.
headliners.
Right. In a 20-minute set, is there sufficient time lag to do that low simmer between the first Earl mention and the second Earl mention?
And the callback to
as shows up maybe a half hour later in A Jewish Thought?
So there is in a 20-minute set, but it's not as satisfying. It's never.
To you or them?
I don't know. I never even considered them. I guess to me.
Fuck them.
It's not as, it's just when I find that when there's more time between the introduction and the callback, it's like, because it catches people so off guard.
Yeah.
It's so fun. And that's like the best comedy.
So I have noticed, take this as a compliment, that while you talk about everything, there are subjects, I don't know if they make you uncomfortable, but there are a couple of punchlines in the special that are a joke about sex. And it seems like, this is the right punchline to say, but you don't hit the audience over the head with. In fact, you back off a little and like say the words so they could appreciate him if they want, but you don't want necessarily to, embrace that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, which one?
I wrote them down. So one is, and that's what makes me come. The desperate, yeah. And another was,
that's what makes me come.
Sounds like college all over again.
Yeah.
Which was, what was that about? I just wrote the punchline down.
That one is, it's about, it's this joke I have about circumcision.
Yeah.
About, it's a crazy decision to make for somebody you just met. Because it's like, I don't even know his name yet. And you want me to figure out what to do with his dick. It just feels like college all over again.
Right. So when you say that, right, you're not punching it. You could maybe get a bigger reaction. The way you say that is, all right, this is the right joke to say in this place, but I don't want to say embarrassed, but maybe my mom's watching.
Oh, my mom is for sure watching. My
so
mom.
Is that why you don't hard sell it? No pun intended.
I don't even think it's just her. It's like Okay. I'm so grateful for the Jewish community I grew up with. They are so proud of me. It's very sweet. But it's like every Sunday school and Hebrew school teacher I've ever had are watching every clip. So there is, and I perform at a lot of synagogues. I don't do that joke, but I think because of it, it's sort of evolved a little bit into being like, oh, I'm performing for like 65-year-old Jews.
Yeah.
Where like, yeah, I don't know. And it's so, I think part of it also, and this goes to what we were saying before about like the first special is all of these jokes that you've worked on for this decade, is like, that feels like a joke that I wrote before I was married. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, well, that's not, it's still me. Like that's still part of my past.
And it's before your husband and
it's
all
before
this.
my husband, but it feels like a little farther away.
Yeah.
Which is like the other exciting part about the new material that's coming is it's not something that I wrote when I was 25, 26.
What about the circumcision material? Does that play well in Temple Beth Shalom?
Depends.
Depends, reform or conservative? What does it depend on?
Actually, it does.
Tell me.
Reform, very fun.
That's like the Friday late
and
crowd?
I grew up conservative. I will say that. I grew up conservative.
Why have a reform temple in Kentucky at all? That seems
to
make no sense.
There is a reform temple.
Okay.
There is a reform temple. But I grew up at the conservative one. And yes, the reform crowds, they're more likely to drink. They're also, it also depends on where in the synagogue you're performing.
Yeah.
If they put you in the social hall, great. Yeah. If they put you in the sanctuary, very different vibe.
Of course.
Because you're like where people daven and the ark is behind you. And you're like, every now and then I'll like tell a joke and turn around to the ark and be like, sorry, sorry.
Next coming up to the bima, put your hands together.
Yeah, it's a very different vibe.
How can it not? That's comedy death. And I don't know. Maybe there's Chris Rock could probably do it. He's essentially a preacher, right?
I mean, I think I can do it.
Yeah, but it seems intimidating. It seems like the stakes are high.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's just very
That's
different.
some Old Testament shit.
It is Old Testament shit. Yeah, it's very different if you're in the social hall versus the sanctuary. So I think that's I started, maybe this was 3 or 4 years ago. I started trying to be more intentional about writing cleaner. Because I wanted to be able to work this circuit a little bit more.
But it seems like you have tons of clean material. I don't think of you as a mostly sexual comic. No. You're not a gross out comic or anything like that.
No, and so then when I do dabble into it, part of it is, I think you're right. I think I have a little bit of a lack of comfort with it. And then part of it is also aware of my audience and aware of how they see me. But I am always, it's so funny because I have this newer joke about discovering porn when I was 12. And whenever I tell it, people fully pull away from me. But I found myself lately trying to channel Caitlin Palufo when I tell it, because she's so good at just being sexual and in the funniest way possible. And owning
and
that
dervish and bouncing around the stage.
Yes. And so I find myself like, I'll watch her sometimes just destroy these audiences.
Right.
And I'm trying to, eventually I would like to, of course, be able to just do it in my voice. But for now, I'm borrowing hers a little bit.
Yeah. I was speaking of the voice when I was interviewing Steph Tolev. She does a different voice that she didn't even realize. Like,
really?
Yeah, she'll sometimes talk like this. And
she didn't know she does that?
She didn't really know. Well, maybe, I think she knows she does that, but she doesn't know why she does that. And then she was like, really? I do that? I'm like, you do that all the time. Maybe that's a distancing mechanism. I don't know. I'm not saying you could try something like that out. The other thing with Palufo or people like that is it's a whirlwind, right? And to get to that level of ecstasy in the audience, it's very different from the explanatory comedy that you're trying to do and that you are.
Yes, that's the hard thing about, one of the hard things about finding your voice is, of course, you're borrowing from other people. You're always borrowing.
Yes.
You see somebody do this thing in this way that's so good, and you go, okay, well, I'll try to be a little bit like that. And eventually you have to figure out how to mold it and shape it and adjust it to you and find out how you would say it.
Who'd you start off doing that with, and who do you see in yourself still? If we could do the DNA, the genome.
I mean, when I was 21,
the Ariel Elias genome.
When I was 21, starting out, I wanted to be Sarah Silverman. Also, that was one of the few women who I had access to seeing do stand-up.
Was she doing the character that she's no longer doing?
Correct.
Which is like,
Yes.
And were a lot of your jokes that misdirect at the end?
Yeah, they were misdirect. They were offensive towards the wrong people, like really punching down horrible shit that I would never say now. And I'm so glad that we didn't tape things back then. It was a lot of that. It was, I grew up on Bob and Tom radio.
Yeah.
That was like my exposure to comedy. So it was, the influences, it was like a real mix, but also like Nikki Glaser got in there. Obviously, Amy Schumer after a few. I think Nikki Glaser, listening to her is how I learned how to write a joke.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you read the New York Times article that kind of shadowed her before she hosted the Golden Globes?
No.
Oh, you got to read it. No. She's so...
Oh wait, is it her talking about like running the set like a million times? Is it that one?
It's by Jason Zinneman, and it just blew my mind about how strategic an artist can be in a great way. Yeah, that was fantastic. And if someone has aspirations to, make it big, this is one way to do it. And that shows what it takes. Now, when you were doing the Sarah Silverman, one aspect of especially that early characters, she never said anything she actually believed.
Right.
And if she did, it would have ruined everything.
Right.
Yeah. So you seem to have exaggerations, but would you say you almost always say things that you believe?
Yes.
Yes.
For sure.
And is that, why is that?
Because
to interrupt, your name is an anagram of a lie is real. You know that, right?
A lie is real. No.
Of course. Ariel Elias. A lie is real. Do the unscrambling.
A lie is real. Huh. Interesting. No, I'm not great at anagrams for as many puzzles as I like. That's not one of them.
Wordle yourself.
Sounds like a real insult.
Yeah.
Go wordle yourself.
Yeah. Wordle this. So why are you spitting truth, Ariel?
Gross. Because I'm not doing a character. You're right. It's an exaggeration of who I am, but it's not a character. I do feel like if I don't believe in what I'm saying, why am I saying it? Mm-hmm. What's the point here then?
So is there any line? Do you ever come up with a great joke and like, I just can't really stand by it? You got to find a way to, if it's a great joke, you got to find a way to say it.
Yeah, sometimes but I don't know that I would be like, this is a great joke and it's total bullshit. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think I can hold those two thoughts at the same time. I've definitely written jokes where I'm like, there's nowhere for this to go. And so this will just be a joke that exists and I'll put it on Threads or whatever.
You put it on Twitter?
I don't use Twitter anymore. But
is that a stance that you took proactively or because Twitter just stopped working for you?
It kind of just, I wish I could be like, no, it's because I'm a fully ethical person. So that's why I'm only switching to Meta.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the step up.
Yeah. No, it was just like it felt like it became very bot filled.
That's true.
It just didn't really feel worth it to me. It felt like a lot of people were leaving. I saw my numbers drop, and spiritually, I kind of can't handle that.
Well, what is Threads? I mean, I know what it is, but is Threads working out for you?
Yeah, Threads is going well. Yeah.
Threads?
Yeah.
I never even think to go to Threads.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. Yeah. So it could be going better.
And then
get on Threads, everybody.
And then there's Blue Sky, where they'll throw a can of beer at you if you voted for Biden because he's not left enough.
Yeah, Blue Sky's not going great for me. I'm on there, but nobody knows I'm on there, but I'm on there. But so to get back to jokes and like truth and stuff, I do think it's okay to lie in a joke. I think it's like, don't let don't let the facts get in the way of the truth kind of thing. So like sometimes.
Well, I don't think that's the expression.
Yeah, it is.
Don't let the facts get in. Oh, okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So like, sometimes you'll get into the nitty gritty of the details where it's like, that didn't actually happen. But the point that I'm making feels true still.
Right. But for instance, you definitely got a rhinestone pepper spray. That happened. I could tell that happened. Yes. There's no way to invent that.
No, my mom really gave me that.
Of course she did.
For sure.
Yes. But then certain other facts can be, did you lose your bags on Southwest? And you pack garbage? No. Okay, there you go. But if you had, it's an interesting thing to talk about.
Well, and it was based off of that. There was like that period of time where Southwest just like fully shit the bed.
Yeah.
And everybody, it was chaos. So it was like based off of that.
Yeah. Tell me about now, this month, this period to have the very Jewish star, Jewish forward, Judaism in the title. You can't avoid it. It's what you talk about, of a special that is out there in the world. Extra considerations?
Yeah.
There is a line not connected to punchlines and not connected to a setup where you do say, I'm not ignorant of everything that's going on in the world. And so, so the question is my original question, and tell me about the considerations of the line. I'm just interested.
Yeah. So I have a joke about wearing a Jewish star necklace. That's sort of part of where it came from. I did get pushback on naming it that. There were, I had some reps who did not want me to name it that. And I think from their perspective, it was about wanting to protect me from whatever anti-Semitism I'm going to get.
Right.
And my feeling on it is, one, I think I'm going to get it anyway. I don't think that naming it something different, I don't think then people would watch the special and be like, oh, but she's not Jewish, right? Like, you're still going to know.
Commitment to the bit. Yeah.
Also, like, there is a lot of shit going on in the world. It's a very complicated issue. I'm still very proud of being Jewish, and like nothing will change that. I'm very proud of the community that I come from. I'm very proud of like how I was brought up. And I think being Jewish played a big part in the empathy that I think I have and the social justice that I feel. It's one of these things where, when people see you online and they see that you're visibly Jewish, it's very much like this group of people wants you to say this group of people wants you to say this. And it's like, I don't really think that like the internet is necessarily the place to be like, let's discuss the issues of like Palestine, Israel, and how complicated it is. But when I'm on stage, if I can find a way to discuss in a funny way, like, but why aren't we just like teaming up together against the Christians? Like, why are we fighting each other? Then like that to me feels like I'm conveying who I am. And I do think like who I want to convey to the world is that like I'm a fucking Jewish star.
And the point of comedy is to communicate, to make the people laugh by communicating to the audience who you are. And if even people with your best interests at heart convinced you to run away from that, that itself would be, that would be a bad thing. That would be a deleterious act. And it would be in some way an act of anti-Semitism, actually.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it would be an act of fear.
Yeah.
And I understand why some people would act out of fear, but I also think that's kind of why we got into this mess, is everybody's just acting out of fear.
Does anyone come to you after the show? So you just said, well, first of all, the internet, perhaps a bad place to adjudicate the complexities of the Israel-Palestine situation.
Yeah, I don't think we should put the Jew and adjudicate online.
Well, that's what, the good Jews, the learned rabbis will be adjudicating. All right. Right. But the comedy stage is too, or can be too, and none of your humor is about Israel-Palestine, from what I could see. But does anyone ever come up after you who, after the show, and talk to you who isn't Jewish or in the Jewish community and say anything about that? You've opened my eyes, or, hey, that was really an interesting way to spend time, and I never thought about it that way?
Anybody who's not Jewish who's done that? There are people...
Like at, say, Temple Beth Shalom, does any non-Jewish,
My My favorite is when people who aren't Jewish come up to me and they're like, I love that. My friend growing up was Jewish.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. Thanks. I don't know that I'm doing like the super hard hitting, like really makes you think, huh? Like that's not.
You do have one dumb thinker in the show.
I have a couple dumb ones.
It's a dumb thinker. Is it really a thinker or does it just take a little while to connect the dots?
Yeah, no, some of the things that I write are really fucking stupid. But I think that's also like fun and necessary.
Yes. Are you going to do, have you done comedy about this thing I read where you went to Cuba as part of your studies?
That's so interesting. I haven't delved into, I studied abroad in Cuba for 4 months.
What time period was that permissible?
It was during, this happened during the first Obama administration.
That's when it would have been. Yeah. Right.
And it was before, so Obama in his second term normalized relations with Cuba, which have since been, that's been undone, but
abnormalized,
unnormalized. I know I couldn't think of the word, but before he fully normalized them, he started opening up to certain schools and religious organizations to be able to start having a little
Tulane's
exchange.
Kind of both.
Yeah, kind of. Well, New Orleans is a sister city of Havana.
Okay, did not know that.
And Tulane has one of the biggest and the best Latin American studies programs in the country, and also Spanish program in the country. Right. And because I was it was like very difficult to go to Cuba. You had to be a Spanish major. You had to have a higher GPA. Brag, brag, brag. You had to pass a language test. They had to do like a full interview because it's like, are you prepared to be isolated?
Right.
Like really isolated for 4 months and live under a dictatorship regime, because there are different rules there. You can't just say shit. So they had to really make sure.
And if you're feeling oppressed, you can't apply for EU citizenship via your Spanish heritage at that point.
No, couldn't do that.
Now, I have to say, of the 4 higher requirements to go to Cuba, that third one, you have to pass a language test. I stand by that. I think that's a good.
Well, also, like, you're going to Cuba, people there don't speak English. Like in other countries, they speak English.
Part of a decades-long embargo.
Correct. They'll speak Russian.
Yeah.
But they don't speak English.
A lot of kids named Vladimir. So we're given all this, did hilarity ensue?
Maybe. I mean, there were certain things. I think, to be honest, I've blocked out a lot of that experience.
Blocked out? Why? Was it traumatic?
It was really difficult.
Yeah.
It was really, really hard. Yeah.
Even with not because of language, for other reasons?
Well, the language at first, like I spoke Spanish going in, but it's island Spanish. It's very, very different. And it's also under a dictatorship. So they speak in code too.
Yeah.
There's like euphemisms for everything. So you're really trying to figure out, it took 2 months before I understood anybody and before they understood me.
Were you with others in your program?
There were 4 other kids from my school. And then there were a couple of other programs. We all stayed in this residence for foreign journalists. So it was like heavily monitored, heavily watched by the military and the police there. But it was really difficult. It was like, we all lost so much weight because we were hungry. Like it was hard. Food was genuinely hard to come by.
Wow.
So it's interesting. I have thought a couple of times about how do I make jokes about this and talk about this? I think there's part of it that feels like it's not really mine to joke about and to talk about because I was truly there for 4 months, 15 years ago. So it feels a little like I don't want to talk about something in a way that just doesn't feel like it's mine.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
it is interesting that the effect of oppression wasn't just out there. Like you felt it acutely on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. And so does that change at all when people talk about, America's becoming an autocracy? I guess there are 2 ways you could go with that. One is, and I know how bad that is. Or 2 is, I lived under a real autocracy. And, the fact that you have to give your age to get on a porn site now is not quite autocracy.
No, it's the first one. I'm like, you're right. We're headed there.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are, I think people also they forget when they talk about there are some people who are like, Trump is basically Hitler.
Yeah,
and people are like, all right, whatever. And you're like, I don't think those people are saying he's Hitler in 1941. I think they're saying he's Hitler in like 1930. Like there's like a whole lead up.
Like post art school.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. There's like a whole, it's not.
Like beer hall pooch type, it's in the air.
Yes.
I get it.
And again, these are
not a good Hitler, by the way.
It's not a great Hitler.
Yeah.
It's not A plus Hitler.
Yeah.
So it's this idea of like, again, like this is where like the nuance I think gets lost online a little bit when people just like throw that stuff out there. But I think being in Cuba for those 4 months, I think it also made me aware of how much propaganda we're all exposed to here. Yeah. Because it's like, obviously there's like the blanket propaganda in Cuba with like all of the billboards and all of that stuff. But you would also feel it in these other ways. And you can see how people can fall for it or even just like how a populist regime can hold on to its people. And it's like, man, I really wish we could also get the free healthcare and the 99% literacy rate. That'd be dope.
Our literacy rate's pretty high.
What's our literacy rate?
It's like, it's over 99%. Maybe it's 98.
Unless it's in cursive.
Then it's 2. Or maybe it's 2. I can't read cursive. So I did make a mention of they'll throw a beer can at you if you voted for Biden the wrong way. This is because you had this experience where someone heckled you via beer and you caught the beer can after. Did it bounce on the floor?
I didn't catch it.
But you picked it up after it hit the floor.
Yeah. What's your question?
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Did I vote for Donald Trump? What do you think?
No.
Okay. Here's a question for you. Why would you ask me that in here knowing I'm the only Jew in this room? Are you trying to get me killed? If it makes you feel any better, I vote in New York. My vote doesn't matter there. It doesn't
matter here either.
It doesn't matter. Guys, everybody vote for whoever you want to vote. I don't care who you voted for. I'm just happy we're all here together.
So you voted for Biden.
I don't know. Why does it matter? Yeah, so what? Why does it matter?
I can just tell by your jokes you voted for Biden.
Why are we talking about politics?
I can tell by the fact that you're still talking when nobody wants you to that you voted for Trump.
Donor's telling me to stop.
Calm down.
Alright, make some noise if you want her to shut up. But I did ask if anybody had any questions. I didn't think it was going to be... That's on me. That was on me for thinking I could have a human interaction with somebody. That's my fault. No, look, I'm such an insecure person. Here, I'll tell you the rest of that bit, and then we'll move on. I'm so insecure. I went and got an IUD.
Okay. Yeah, come on, buddy. Can't do that. Are you fucking kidding me? Yo, I'm never coming out with this group of people ever again. Straight up? Yeah.
And then you had would you say it was presence of mind, instinct? Analyze what was going through your thought as an entertainer who had to do something entertaining in that moment.
My thought was, I remember seeing it and I remember thinking, would it be funny? I wonder if it would be funny if I picked it up and drank it.
Only one way to find out.
Only one way to find out. And when I picked it up, also like everybody was so distracted looking at these people who were assholes and were getting kicked out. And I was like, I still have like 10 minutes left of my set. This wasn't at the end of the set.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I was featuring. So I had merch to sell because that's the only way you can make money featuring on the road. And I was like, I have to get to the joke about the merch to sell the merch to make my gas money back. So
from New Jersey, where in New Jersey?
Point Pleasant Beach, New Jersey.
Oh, that's pretty far down there.
It's not that far, but in traffic, it's awful.
Oh yeah.
But
and this is a place called like Uncle Vinny's or something.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on? It should have maybe been.
It
a
wasn't
sign.
shocking. Yeah. And like the Uncle Vinny's logo had like bullet holes that like quote unquote that had been like artistically rendered. That's and like the L was like the gun in the Sopranos font. Like it, it's not shocking that it happened there.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking, would it be funny if I picked it up? And then I picked it up and I felt that there was still some in it. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm just going to have to mime this.
Or crush it against your forehead.
I don't have the confidence to think I can do that. And so I waited a second. I picked it and I saw that everybody was still looking at the door. And I was like, wait until more people are looking at you. And so I did. I gave it a second and then I drank it and I milked it a little bit. Like there wasn't a ton left in there, but I made it look like there was more. And then set it back down. And that was it. And I kept going with the set. I think I made a joke about like, I think I said like, well, we'll all have this memory of tonight, except for that girl. She's blackout, obviously.
And did you do, and then it really went viral. Did you do anything to help it go viral?
No.
Did you put it on your site?
So that night I was opening for John Marco Cerezi. And so he, who has and always has had a bigger following than me. And so he had tweeted just
and by the way, if they don't like you for your politics, they're really going to hate him.
Well, he was a little less overt then.
But he's the guy who would hate Biden because he is way to the right. Yes.
But so he just kind of tweeted like, here's what happened. And I think he had... Maybe he didn't have the picture of it, but he just tweeted it out and I saw that it was like and I was like, well, hold on. You don't get to take my likes.
His story to tell.
And I had been filming it. I had just been recording it on my phone. And he also, he had his camera set up and he was like, if you didn't get it, I have it too.
Right.
But so that night I remember getting home. And I didn't sleep well that night. And I woke up the next morning and I was like, I should just clip this up and put it out. Cause he's tweeted about it. It's already, there's some people who are interested. And I had just taken a little screenshot and posted it. And then I just clipped it up real quick and I just put it out. And then 45 minutes later, I opened my phone and I was like, oh shit. And my husband came home from work and I was like, hey, so something's happening. So that was really
and
it.
You got what, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views?
Yeah.
Wow. And you got Kimmel pretty much directly from that, or at least when you were on Kimmel, he explained that.
No, I saw that he had retweeted it and said something. And so I just replied under it. I said, can I make my late night debut on your show?
Moxie. There you
go. Thank you. And he said, definitely. And then they were going on hiatus for like 2 weeks. But then he was like, yeah, come out.
But it also, and this is not me just being kind, it seems like you were at the point you were featuring in New Jersey, but also at the point of your career where material-wise, that was quite warranted.
Yeah, I think so.
Like you have reps, and the reps were probably saying even before this, look, we're trying to get you on different late night shows.
So I actually didn't have reps then, but I had submitted for other late night shows a couple of times. I had done JFL New Faces. I had like a couple of things under my belt. I was starting to headline at these like rinky-dink places where you're losing money just going. But
not the big time like Uncle Vinny. Featuring at Uncle Vinny.
But so I was doing like a converted church in the middle of Pennsylvania. Like that's where I was headlining, which is a Church of Satire. You're a great club. Love you so much.
Church of Satire?
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
It's this, but so yes, I would not have asked to come on if I felt like I was not ready to come on. I'm pretty good generally about knowing when I'm ready for something. And,
right.
And that's a big part of comedy, right? It's like knowing when to say yes to the opportunity and when to say no.
Well, the when to say no part for a comedian, sometimes they're always told you always got to put yourself out there and you might feel it. People have imposter syndrome. That's probably harder than knowing when to say yes.
Yeah, I think more people should know when to say no.
I agree. So in your special, you do say you think about that a lot. And I believe you because it was a strange thing that happened. It was really important to your career.
Yeah.
But do you think it's one of those things where you think about it a lot? Like sometimes the images that we have, especially, well, you're younger. I don't know if this is true for you. But for me, things I think about in my childhood were the things I have photographs of. And there's this memory phenomenon where you actually wind up remembering photographs more than other things. Do you think it's something like that?
For sure.
Yeah.
No, I kind of have to check myself sometimes to be like, are you remembering watching the video of you or are you remembering actually being on stage?
Yeah.
And so I try to, because the instinct is, to just remember the video. And then I have to go, no, that was you.
Yeah.
That happened to you.
Yeah.
And then go back into like how it felt on stage.
But in terms of someone who's known to perseverate occasionally, would you say
what does that mean?
To really dwell on something and maybe having negative thoughts, would you still say and stand by looking back on that, no notes?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's so funny too, because like 3 weeks before that, I was featuring in St. Louis, and I like got too mad too fast at a woman who was being obnoxious. And it was like a real, I took the lesson afterwards of like, oh, you can't let them see you get mad. Like, that's where, because she was being obnoxious, and there were other people in the crowd who were like, hey, thank you for telling her to shut the fuck up.
Right.
But also I felt bad about it. And so it just so happened that 3 weeks later, I was like, oh, here's my opportunity to not let them see me be mad.
Redemption.
Yes.
Redemption at Uncle Vinny's, the Ariel Elias story.
The only time that's ever been said.
Ariel Elias's new special is Jewish Star.
A Jewish star.
It is also a Jewish star. It is 2/3 of it is Jewish star, but the A needs to be said too. I'll say that again. Ariel Elias's new special, which you could see all over your YouTubes and everywhere else, is a Jewish star. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
All right.